What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley, that's Scott Savage, and you can join us at InsideTheGame.ca, our YouTube channel, the Inside the Game official, podcast services, thanks to our friends at Fired Up Network, and all those beautiful TV streaming platforms around the globe. We're talking about Roku, Amazon Prime, Samsung Plus, Jinx Esports TV, ESTV, and a whole lot more. Scott, we got some cool news on the show today. What are we talking about?
We have Bend Studio teasing Syphon Filter. That's interesting. We have Mortal Kombat on the Switch. Significantly less interesting. We have Ubisoft announcing The Division 3. And Relogic has donated In Spite to Unity.
Yeah, it's funny to see how that one kind of played out. That's cool. Dude, but Bend Studio, big questions going around right now. What are they working on? Is it in fact another Syphon Filter game? Are they going back to the roots? That's the biggest question, Scott. So let's talk. Scott, they've been absent for quite some time, and his Bend Studio teases something to do with Syphon Filter. That's right. It's been a long time since we heard that one shouted out, haven't we? Oh, man.
Yeah, I was not expecting Syphon Filter anytime soon.
Grant Taylor-Hill over at Insider Gaming had this to say. Syphon Filter is a legendary franchise that has roots in the late 1990s, Scott, on the PlayStation. Its entire life cycle spanned no more than 8 years, but in that time, it saw 6 games published across 3 platforms for PlayStation. That's quite the list, isn't it?
I didn't realize there was 6 of them. Holy.
Yeah, absolutely. So the platforms and wowed the fans the world over with its stealthy, action-fueled, spy-themed adventures. Sadly, Syphon Filter faded away into nothingness following the last release of 2007's Syphon Filter Logan's Shadow, a PSP and PS2 game. Now, in a message published on Twitter, the creator of the franchise, Bend Studio, has published a tease related to the series. Gabe Logan was Sam Fisher before Sam Fisher was Sam Fisher, working with high-tech gadgets and suppressed weapons to rid the world of nasty terrorist people. It wasn't ever a phenomenally successful franchise, but Syphon Filter certainly is memorable, especially for fans. Scott, I would say, as that kind of goes. In a small teaser published on the Twitter, Bend Studio, the creator of Days Gone, referenced Syphon Filter in a cryptic message saying, "Now, given that there has been absolutely no talk of a new Syphon Filter game surfacing, we think there's more likely something to do with PlayStation Plus and the library of Syphon Filter games perhaps making their way over as a classic collection. However, if we could be wrong, Bend Studio hasn't done much since Days Gone was released in 2019. Scott, that's been a while, man.
Yeah, it's been several years. Long enough to begin work on another project, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So, it's been weird to see them kind of crypt out this message. And the message said, Scott, "We have a scheduled maintenance plan today. Players must siphon their filter. You will experience absolutely no issues during this time as this is completely made up. Thank you for your support." What is that, Scott?
Is that just somebody having a laugh, having a little bit of fun? It sounds like a post I would make. But at the same time, beloved franchise, long dormant. It kind of seems like Sam Fisher in a cyberpunk setting, and everything seems to be rolling around to cyberpunk now.
Yeah, well, especially with Liberty City or Phantom Liberty going on right now in Night City with Cyberpunk 2077, making that, I almost call it like a resurgence in a sense.
Yeah.
Right? As the initial launch, not so good. Right now, dude, brand new game. Let me tell you, it's a brand new game. Steve and I are in the world of Phantom Liberty. We'll have a lot more to talk about when it comes to that. But pulling in here with Gabe Logan, who was Sam Fisher before Sam Fisher was Sam Fisher. Dude, what a statement, right? I do appreciate it. Here's the thing. It has been since 2019, Days Gone. We haven't heard anything. We've been notified that there is no Days Gone 2. PlayStation shut it down, even though it technically made more than Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, yeah, that's a painful situation there.
Very, but yeah, we're getting Ghost of Tsushima 2, which I am very excited for. Cannot wait. I loved Ghost of Tsushima 1. I thought it was a fantastic game. Then they introduced Legends and all this other stuff, right? So here we go. We're getting into a sequel. We're not getting Days Gone 2. What is Bend working on? That is the biggest thing. It's funny too, because this came up out of nowhere. And the other day I'm on my Twitter and I'm scrolling through and people are posting still Days Gone photo mode shots, right? Like they're still posting screenshots and things like that. And I'm like, wow, like it still looks great. What are you guys doing? What is that studio working on? Is this the tease that leads up, Scott, to a return of Syphon Filter? We haven't seen a Splinter Cell game in years either. So they could fill that void, right? They could fill that gap of, hey, stealth fans need something. I'm playing stealthy in Phantom Liberty, but I'm telling you, dude, that is not really that kind of stealth mechanic, right? It's not the Sam Fisher. It's not the hide in the shadows. It's not Thief. It's not Dishonored, but it is a different style. And I can appreciate what it is. But when we go back to the core roots of stealth games, Scott, Syphon Filter, Splinter Cell, Thief, even Assassin's Creed, kind of, if I want to toss that in there, right? Back in the day. So could this be the return of, dude, we saw just the other day, Dishonored 3, back with Arcane, right? Here we go, another stealth game, because why? Because Dishonored did really well for them. Even though we've talked about it many times on the show, Scott, is the stealth genre dead?
I think this might line up for the resurgence of stealth.
Yeah.
Because we've seen the Metal Gear Solid Delta change, the compilation pack coming.
Yeah.
Splinter Cell is back in the conversation once again. So I think this might actually be a new generation of stealth games. And that has me excited because it's one of my favorite genres.
It is easily my favorite genre. Dude, I love sneaking around. I'll play even a first-person shooter. I will play it stealthily as much as possible until it all breaks loose and then we just start lighting everybody up. But it's one of those things, dude, I love playing in, like Hitman, right? You walk in the front door, you do what you gotta do, you take off, back out the front door like you were never even there. Syphon Filter, a little bit different in the fact that it uses a lot of tech, a lot of gadgets, and that whole spy thriller theme could really have a resurgence come back and kind of kick off, I think, a new wave of stealth games that fans could adore and love and move forward with, that we've been missing for quite some time. Dude, everybody's asking for the next Splinter Cell. Syphon Filter could fill that void for quite some time, because who knows when we're getting Splinter Cell, let's be honest. Yeah, they're working on it. They're still in the design phases, but you have to think, since Days Gone, Ben Studio has been working on something. Dude, it has to be Syphon Filter, wouldn't you think? One of their most beloved franchises at the studio, dormant for so long, Days Gone doesn't hit well. What do? They go back to their roots, bring back in Syphon Filter.
We're going to have to pay attention to the PlayStation catalog, see if it is just that, but otherwise it seems like a good sign.
It does, right? Maybe we do just get more tossed over to PlayStation Plus, because we have seen a couple of those make their way. But, dude, time will tell. Bring back the stealth genre, my friend. I sure do miss it. Scott, the fiasco behind Mortal Kombat 1 making it to the Switch has made some more headlines, as Ed Boon says Mortal Kombat 1 on Nintendo Switch will be fixed. By removing it, let's talk about it. Mike Straw over at Insider Gaming. Though Mortal Kombat 1 has been viewed as a successful, with generally favorable reviews since its release, one platform has been anything but pleasant: the Nintendo Switch. The game's version on the hybrid console has been panned across the internet due to various bugs, poor visual quality, poorly developed fatalities, and more. And with Mortal Kombat 1 costing the same $70 price on the Switch as it does on every other platform, fans have been furious about paying that much for what clearly feels like a broken game. Quote, "It will absolutely be getting an update," Ed Boon said in an interview with the BBC. And a number of concerns of the issues that had come up will absolutely be addressed. It would have been ideal for us to have released the version that we absolutely wanted, but anything that we're finding a problem with is on our list and is going to be fixed. Anything that we see that is not acceptable will absolutely be addressed. Scott, dude,
this is a brand he's got to protect at this point, right? And
Yep.
somebody has to be responsible for it. There's some ownership of the situation expressed here, and I can respect that. You have to imagine waking up as Ed Boon. You want to see the world accept the greatest Mortal Kombat to date, but it just hasn't gone right in the. It's not a situation that anybody wants to see, especially on Nintendo. And I think that fixing it is really the only step forward in a situation that's similar to. I'm gonna liken it to Halo, Battlefield. These games that come out from such a huge, long dynasty of games, but represent just a blemish on the record. I think this needs to be addressed, and I don't know what that looks like.
Well, that's just it. Boon added that the team at NetherRealm is dedicated to supporting the game on the Switch, quote, like we did with Mortal Kombat 11, end quote. Dude, this isn't comparable at all, unfortunately.
I don't recall the situation back then, but I don't think it was this.
No, not even close to this, right? We're in a whole new era when it comes to Mortal Kombat 1. We're not on the PS4 and the Xbox One, right? We're in a whole different category when it comes to what we're currently playing on compared to the Switch. The Switch isn't meant to have Mortal Kombat on it. Not in this state of the game, right? Not this late in its life cycle. If it was a Switch 2, dude, this wouldn't have happened. I guarantee you, this would be in a whole different light. You know what I mean? Be a lot more smoother, a lot higher graphic fidelity, and frame rates wouldn't be an issue. Missing content wouldn't be an issue. The thing is, Ed Boon's team isn't the one that published this for the Switch, right?
Yeah.
They didn't develop this for the Switch. This is a whole other team. That's a problem. That whole other team shouldn't have done this at all. Clearly didn't work. Maybe Ed should have stepped in though and taken a look. Go, hey guys, we need to hold this back. The Switch isn't working the way it should be. Obviously, Ed Boon, very busy guy. So, but maybe somebody else who did take a look at it should have realized this isn't going to go well with fans. They're going to be furious. Would it be a different standard, Scott, if it was only $30, $40 instead of a full price?
I think that would have made a huge difference, yeah, because it's hard to compare the two same title product, but on two different consoles. It's just awful. I think it would have been so much better to just delay or cancel outright the Nintendo Switch option. It just doesn't seem to have done anything good for the brand or fan base at all.
No, not at all, right?
I was seeing comparison with this game's graphics compared to Mortal Kombat 4. Which was when they were first wrestling with the three-dimensional era. And you could say Mortal Kombat 4 was the better of these two in the comparison. It was actually, that's how bad we're going back here. I think it's down to the Switch hardware. It really must be. But in any case, we're seeing this kind of secondary company come on to take one of the iterations. This is a problem that happened with the Grand Theft Auto trilogy.
Yep. Exactly.
And if you have your prized possession, you can't just give that away to anybody.
No, clearly it hasn't worked, right? Dude, this isn't even compared to apples to oranges. This is like apples to rotten oranges. Like that's how it's gone really to the extreme. And it's unfortunate for everybody who picked it up on the Switch. Looking forward to get into the latest Mortal Kombat. It's unfortunate for Ed and the NetherRealm team to have this kind of feedback where everything else on the other side of it has been so well received. Dude, like I'm having a blast playing last night, and now take a look at the roster. I'm like, yo, my review's coming up soon. I'll have a lot more to talk about it, but I'm like, yo, I'm going to play this character, this fighter, this fighter, this fighter. Like, there's so many things I still want to do after wrapping up the campaign. Going back, there's a lot to unpack, but you just don't get the same package when it comes to the Switch. And I think you're right. It is the technical limitations of the Switch's hardware, and that's what's holding this back. Which, granted, you're starting to see a lot of titles now launch on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. And that's where it stops, right?
Yeah.
You don't see it go to Xbox One. You don't see it go to PS4. And you don't see it go to the Switch. And I get you want to be in as many platforms as possible all at once at launch. Maybe they should have just held it back, because now we're getting critical feedback. We're posting pictures. Everybody's posting pictures, opinions, things like that just don't look well received when it comes to Mortal Kombat compared to where it could have been. Dude, if they just would have kept it on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, right?
It lowers the average by a lot. And I think that we, as a whole gaming community, industry, need to move on from these lesser hardware packages. If these games start to skip Switch, Nintendo will turn it around and figure out a switch to it in quick time.
Well, yeah, they don't want to lose out on money either, right? I think that's a valid point, Scott. We as gamers, we speak with our wallet, right? Well, maybe as developers, they should too. Push Nintendo to produce a better product at the end of the day. I say better product, meaning catch up to standards of today, right? What they have is a fantastic product, which has done millions and millions of dollars. Don't get me wrong. I understand what they've done, but it is now 7 years old, and it's showing the age heavily compared to where we are with the current gen. Scott, Ubisoft announces the Division 3 massive entertainment set to develop. Chris Scullion over at VGC, the publisher, announced that Jillian Gueretti, who's currently serving as creative director on Star Wars Outlaws, has also been appointed executive producer of the Division series. As part of the announcement, it was confirmed that the Division 3 will be one of the projects Gueretti will oversee, and that Massive Entertainment will be leading the development as it has done with the previous 2 games. Please don't take it away from him. I think that makes total sense, Scott. Keep it in the family. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yes.
Quote, as executive producer, Jillian Gueretti will oversee all the Division games and products, including Tom Clancy's The Division 3, led by Massive Entertainment, who is actively building a team for the game, end quote. Ubisoft's statement reads. So here's the point of that. Right now, the Division 2 is still going strong, right? We have the Division Heartland and the Division Resurgence, which is the which is the mobile side, where Heartlands is this free-to-play touch. And then we get into now the Division 3, starting to build a team, looking to then come off of 2 and start restructuring, customizing the ideas, building the storyboards and all that kind of stuff, right? Getting up concept art and all that. Very early stages of development. Concept is where they're starting. We are years away, Scott, but
yeah, I wouldn't expect this for quite some time. The Division is not a small game by any means.
Oh man, it's been going for years too, right? With the Division 2 taking off as successfully as it has. I think the Division 1 worked for some. It didn't hook me. The Division 2 is what really pulled me in, especially when we started playing with like Nate and Kyle and all. Like you went out as a group. That's a whole different game then, man. You're trying to play that solo, which has been a ton of fun. So I'm excited to see that they're getting into Division 3, but we're still waiting on where's the Heartlands? Dude, Division Heartland,
yeah.
Where is that game? Like, when are we going to see that? Do you think we'll see that this year or next year?
Yeah, haven't we've been talking about the Heartlands for at least a year or more now. Yeah, it feels like so long. I'm wondering if we'll even see it, or if it has been changed, adapted, and has become so big now. It is the Division 3.
No, I don't think so. I think it has its own thing. I think it's almost, dude, I think we're close. I think we'll see it by the end of next year at the latest. Quote, in his new role, Jillian will drive the many interpretant production elements of the Division brand in a unified direction. This includes the development oversight operations and creative vision together with the development teams around the world who are currently developing the mobile game, Tom Clancy's The Division Resurgence, Tom Clancy's The Division Heartland, and Tom Clancy's The Division 2. According to Ubisoft, Gueretti will continue to work on Star Wars Outlaws until the game is completed. So
yes, let's not take any attention away from Outlaws.
Yeah, please, no, dude. As good as that looks, we're supposed to be getting it next year. Is that correct?
Oh, that seems very short term, but it's clearly it's possible. I feel like I've just been lost in the hurricane of releases nowadays.
Ubisoft's been all over the place, right? Like they've had some pretty good games come out, and then some games that were kind of like, I don't know, we'll see how that goes. But they're lining up, though. I think like the Crew, we just reviewed the Crew. Assassin's Creed Mirage is coming up, right? Then this year again, coming out of Massive, dude, is Avatar. Frontiers of Pandora. So I think that's what it's called. Man, I always get it mixed up with the movie. But it's
I think that's right.
No, I think so too.
I also haven't seen the movie, the new one.
Shame on you. Dude, it's like they're busy. But Massive, again, working on Avatar. Then they're still working on all these other Division games, now getting into Outlaws with Star Wars, and now the Division 3. So if you're over at Massive right now, I think the schedule lineup looks like Avatar, then you get into Star Wars Outlaws, and then we see the Division 3, which then tells me we're really probably another 5-6 years away, 7 years away from seeing the Division 3.
I would expect it to be that far, yeah. And considering how much the live service you want to pack behind a release like that, have it ready to go. So I think that's quite some time. 4 or 5 years, I think, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to have that roadmap too, right? We talk about a lot in the show with a games of service model. You need to have 2 years of content already kind of in the bank, ready to go, because gamers are starving, man. You put us out there in the world of something that we really connect with, and a games of service model, you got to keep feeding that hunger to keep us coming back. And that's the biggest thing we've seen a lot too, is that people don't want you to leave their game. We do see our single player games, and as much as we enjoy them, we're done, right? You play that game, then you're done. The Division is not like that. The Division wants you to make a returning appearance on a daily, weekly basis. And that's exciting, dude. I don't know, pretty cool. I'm glad Division 3 though is coming.
Well, it's been incredibly well supported. Games as a service done correctly. It's something I rarely say. Well, Drew, lastly today we have a bit of a stinging topic. Relogic has donated $100,000 to Godot and FNA in response to the Unity backlash. This comes from Sophie McEvoy at Games Industry. The Terraria developer, Relogic, has donated $100,000 to open sources engines Godot and FNA, and will continue to sponsor the companies with $1,000 a month. Sharing the news on Twitter, Relogic had a statement, quote, Even if Unity were to recant their policies and statements, the destruction of trust is not so easily repaired. To quote further, we strongly feel that it is now equally important to get behind some of the other up-and-coming open-source game engines. Quote ends. And that is one way of handling the backlash that Unity has kind of done to themselves now.
Absolutely.
In what is an awful situation.
Yeah, Unity finds itself in hot water, and now you're seeing some of the other game engines come around and step up. Dude, I think it's a cool move.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with diversity here.
Scott, there's a couple of games out today, my friend. It is coming up to the weekend. You can see the hype, the excitement. Let us know over on Twitter, though. The official ITG. What are you playing over the weekend? But right now, Scott, let's talk about what games are out today.
We have Avatar: The Last Airbender's Quest for Balance. That's on PC, PS4, 5, Xbox One, X, and the Switch. The Bunny Graveyard is on PC. That's a kind of an interesting title. Pikmin 1+2 has had a Switch physical release out today. Whateverland comes to PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, XS, and the Switch.
Should I say you stole it? Being nice doesn't get things.
And lastly, we have EA Sports FC 24, and that's on PC, PS4, 5, Xbox One, X, and the Switch.
Formerly known as FIFA, Scott, for EA Sports. Funny turn of events.
Mm-hmm.
The power header, acrobatic shot, and power.
And that'll wrap up today's show, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news each and every day. We'll be back again soon. I'm Drew, that's Scott.
And we'll see you inside the game.